Hello and welcome back to the McClaren Performance Podcast for what is kind of, I guess, an unscripted kind of episode. I kind of want to talk about the podcast as a whole, I guess, McClaren Performance as a whole, where this all kind of came from and where I'd like to take it as well. Everything's kind of got a bit crazy lately, understandably, with everything Manchester United. And I guess people have a lot of questions, which is understandable. So I kind of want to touch on all of that. I usually do this with notes, and it's usually all scripted out. And I have a topic, and I want to touch on everything, but I'm kind of going unscripted here, so just forgive me if it's all a bit rambly and all over the place, but that's what you're getting today. Because we're going on holiday soon, tomorrow actually. So in terms of the next week or two, I don't know what sort of episodes we might be doing. I don't think we're doing anything. I might do something by myself, but mostly I don't think we'll do anything really because we need a break and Dad needs a little bit of a break before everything kind of kicks off, as you can imagine. So this is just really where we came from in terms of the podcast, how it all started, and the big question that people have is how is it going to carry on the way that it's going now. So in terms of how it all started, I mean, in terms of right now as well, I'm still technically a trainee sport and exercise psychologist. So I'm towards the end of that kind of training, but I'm not quite there yet. I basically have to wait for an interview. And then after the interview, I'm a qualified sport and exercise psychologist. And this kind of all started doing this sort of stuff, I'd say 2 years ago now. So the start of pandemic, obviously. And I was so bored. I wasn't doing anything. In terms of training as being a sport and exercise psychologist, you're supposed to be doing all this placement work, doing all this experience. And I wasn't doing anything because there was no sport going on. There was absolutely nothing happening. So during the pandemic, doing absolutely nothing, I thought I'll start doing graphics, doing drawings with regards to sports psychology. So picking a topic, doing a drawing, doing a graphic, explaining it, putting it online, because I felt, and I still feel, sports psychology not in a good place for communicating these things and not really being that engaging. And I thought I'd put my own attempt in terms of doing that. You can find all those graphics and stuff on Instagram if you really want to see them. I don't know if you will, but they are there. So, yeah. And then that kind of carried on. Then we kind of got back into football. And then all the sports came back. And then when the sport did come back, I was getting frustrated again because I really wasn't getting opportunities to talk like I wanted to do workshops like I wanted to do. So if you're a sports psychologist, you do a workshop, you talk to players or coaches, have meetings, talk about topics and things like that. And I wasn't really getting those opportunities to do that. So more and more frustrated, I thought, right, I'll just do it myself. And all this was kind of under this umbrella of McClaren Performance. So I'll do it myself. I did a video, which you'll see on the YouTube. If you go on YouTube, the first video I've done is what is sports psychology. And I just wanted to do that because I was flipping sick of not being able to talk about sports psychology and not getting those opportunities. So I thought, right, I'll just flipping do it by myself with a camera. I do like YouTube. I know how it works, so I can edit or something like that. I can make it happen. And it took me flipping ages to make it. It took me absolutely ages. I don't even think it's that good, but it took me ages to do it, and I was alright with it. It was alright. And then, so I was doing that, and then I said, "Oh, Dad, you need to watch it and watch this video I've done." And so he thought it was alright. And then we were talking about. I went, "Oh, everyone's telling me I should do a podcast. You should talk about psychology podcast like that." And I went, "Oh, well, I ain't got anyone to talk to." Just saying, I ain't got anyone to talk to, And he was like, all right. And then we didn't talk for a bit. And then he rang me the other day after that. I went, "Oh, I've got a good idea, Josh. We'll do a podcast together." I was like, "Oh, that's a flipping good idea, that, Dad. Well done. We'll do that." So I thought, okay. We'll do the podcast. I'll figure out how to do it. I was still in the middle of doing all the assignments and stuff, but I thought, what a good opportunity that is to do that. I thought, really good opportunity to do something different Because for one, I think one thing my dad has, which a lot don't in terms of pundits. If you ever watch him on TalkSport or Sky or anything, I think his insight, I know there's all the memes and everything, but I think his insight into football is really good, and his commentary on the football is really good, especially in comparison to a lot of the other things you see, a lot of other people talking, and I hear that now, in comparison to what we talk about, I think, what are they talking about? It just seems so objective and, oh, they're rubbish or they're good. And I kind of like that more insightful discussion. And so I thought I create a platform for Dad to do that, and he can just talk, and you can kind of see the real him from that as well, because I think there's all these impressions being put on him about what type of person he is for whatever reason. I don't know why. But from this, I think you can kind of see he's just a normal guy, a little bit. Not normal, but, you know, he's all right. And then so I wanted that coaching perspective from his football experience, and I kind of wanted that as well with psychology, because I don't think at all psychology in football is anywhere near where I think it should be. It's like not close at all for me. I don't think it's engaging enough. I don't think it's simplified enough. I was seeing someone talk the other day, a guy called Justin Cochran, who works at Man United, saying, you know, he'd work with a good sports psychologist, but really sports psychology, he said, needs to go through a football filter. And I couldn't agree more with that, because it's just so dull and boring, but it's something to me that's so exciting, and it's something that applies to football all the time. So with this podcast, right, we'll talk about a topic, and then you can apply psychology to everything, because it explains everything. That's the point of sport. It's the underlying thing to all the actions and behaviours in sport, in life. So, and talking about it in relation to football, I think kind of shows that it's actually really important, more so than other things are shown. And then doing that alongside someone like my dad, and doing it that way, I think is a really good idea. So that was the podcast, really. That was just it. So we got a guy called Dave Roberts who works at FIFA, who does media for them, and we got him to help us. And then we start making these audio episodes, and it's going all right. So we're on Spotify and Apple and Google, getting about 100, 200 people listening, which was great. Like, yeah, it was really good. I really enjoyed that, because you can just give a little lecture to people, and that's what I really wanted to do. I wanted to talk and teach, and doing it alongside my dad as well was really good. But then I wanted to put it to video, because audio is one thing, but you can't really get, I don't think the algorithm's there on Spotify and Apple and so on for it to really reach out to people. So I thought, right, the next thing, we'll get to YouTube and we'll put videos on so people can see us talking. And then from that, you know, people can enjoy the podcast more, hopefully. So I'm trying to push for that. And it just so happened the first video we did, where I managed to figure it out, was talking about Erik ten Hag. So, and I didn't know at the time that I literally thought, rumours, you know, it's not whatever. It's not important to us. We'll still talk about it. And I think Dad was kind of in the same mind, because he wouldn't talk about it the way he talked about it in the last episode, in that Erik ten Hag episode. He wouldn't talk about it so freely now because he's in the job. But then it was just not even if Ten Hag got the job, would it be a possibility that he was working at Man United? So you kind of got that more open discussion. Well, not thinking it was going to be anything big or like help us at all, and then it did. Because then obviously it got in the news and rumours, and it got picked up. I think YouTube does help with that. So it got picked up in that sense, and now suddenly we got a bit of a bigger audience, which is crazy, which I'm really grateful for, and people commenting as well, which we didn't have before. I didn't really see anyone talking, but now people are saying how good the podcast is and stuff, and it's really, you know, makes a big difference for us, to be fair. But then it came to that point where the Man United stuff was actually real, and I was like, oh, flipping it. And I always knew my dad would get a job at some point while we were doing it. That, you know, that was always going to happen. But I didn't realise he was going to get, like, the biggest job, one of the biggest jobs in football, which was a bit of a spanner in the works. I didn't see that coming. So while it, you know, has brought a new audience to us, and which we're really grateful for, and as Man United fans, and I really want to bring that insight, it's a bit of a curveball. I'm kind of going, okay, well, how do we adapt to this? So the future of it is, complicated, I guess. I don't know. I don't want to talk about Man United every week. I don't want to exploit the situation so much and just have dull, nothing conversations about just one specific club. We could have insightful conversations about it, but I can't do that because Dad's working there. So it's too close. I do want to talk and have insightful conversation about every other club and carry on with that. I can't guarantee that Dad will be on every week. I don't think he'll be on every week. I don't think it's a good idea that he's on every week, because while I appreciate how nice everyone has been about Dad getting the job, and there's really nice comments and everyone's really supportive, that's great, but this isn't my first rodeo. There's always this great honeymoon period, and it's really nice, and everyone's really nice. And your Dad's like, oh, that's great. Oh, I hope he loves Derby. I hope he loves QPR. I hope he loves Man United. And then, 1 or 2 games, and then suddenly he's the worst person in the world. And then I know every comment's going to be, you should be doing this. Why don't you do this? And I just don't. I don't want to get involved with that. I don't want this channel. I don't want this podcast to be Man United gossip all the time. And I want it to be educated conversation, which sounds really boring. I hope it's not going to be boring, but I'd rather it be insightful. I think the stuff we've done before, talking to Dad about, getting the job and all that insight, I think is really interesting for fans and Man United fans to hear. It's that level of insight that isn't too intrusive on Man United and insightful for you lot, but I don't want it to get to that point where, we'll get abuse every week from Man United fans. But yeah, what the main thing, I want to keep that insightful conversation. I want to bring some amount of insight to what's going on at Man United as much as I possibly can, in a way that's still respectful to Manchester United and their privacy. And I don't want to be intrusive, but I still want to have conversations with my dad. That's really what I enjoy. I know the channel itself, I know it kind of looks like I'm exploiting what's going on at Man United, because it looks like that's the first episode I've done, but we've been doing this since about November, and really I just want to do that. I don't want to do all the Man United stuff. I want to carry on having these insightful conversations. I hope a few of you will still enjoy, and that's what I want to keep providing. If we do episodes together, I don't think it will be about specific clubs or anything like that. It won't be gossipy. It won't be criticising coaches, especially in the Premier League, or teams in the Premier League. If we were to do that, I'd do episodes by myself. I have a feeling we're probably not going to be... I think I'm the only one who knows this, that I release on Wednesdays. That's what I try and do every Wednesday. But I think the reality is that it probably won't be that consistent. It'll be more sporadic. I think now I'm doing the YouTube as well. I think I might do kind of YouTube videos talking by myself as well, and try and work at that, because like I said, the whole point of this was to me improve my speaking, really, and to get work and do that. And so I want to carry on practicing that. I understand if people don't want to watch that, that's fine. You rather watch Dad talk as well, which I understand massively. So there's that option, and I'll hopefully have that option there every now and again as well. But I want to do my own stuff within it as well. One thing I haven't talked about yet really is guests and the opportunity to get guests on. Obviously with the Man United stuff going on, there's more opportunities for that. And I think it's something we used to do a lot before, was get people on to kind of add a different dynamic to our conversations, but to also have a dissect certain people and dissect how they work. And I used to got the mentality of series, and I kind of want to do that again and get some big names on, as biggest names as possible, really. So I want to do that on top of everything else, and that's something that allows Dad to come on and be a part of that as well. So hopefully we'll see that in the future, if I can actually arrange that. I think I want this podcast, whatever it is now, I don't know. I want it to be the aim, or I've always had with it, which is to have insightful discussion about psychology and coaching in football, for coaches and people working in football, but also for fans, educated fans who want to really understand more about what's going on. I can't guarantee I'd provide that, but I want to ask questions that would have those sort of discussions, if that makes sense. This is started off with me kind of being fed up with the state of sports psychology really in football. Like I said, it needs to go through a football filter, and I'm sick of it. It's not a respected job at all. It's just not, in football especially. So I'm fed up with that and how it's presented, and I want to push and try and do that differently. I'm fed up with not getting opportunities to give talks and do talks, and I'm getting more of that now, which is great. So that's why I want to carry on doing this. But I'm fed up of not getting to do things the way I really feel like they should be done. And so the whole McClaren Performance thing is just exactly for that. So I can do whatever I want. And that's why I can't guarantee and say, right, this is what we're going to be doing going forward. I might have a new idea tomorrow, and I might want to do that. That's kind of the whole point of this. And hopefully it could be stuff that entertains people listening and watching. But if it doesn't, that's tough. I'm just going to do it anyway. Like, for example, we're going away on holiday now, and I want to maybe do, it's the one time I get to read books. Same with my dad as well. So I have the idea that, we could tell you lot what books we're reading, and then maybe do an episode later on talking about the books that we've read and relate it to sport and football. And, there might be people that aren't interested in that, but I'm only interested in making stuff that I think is insightful and interesting. I really don't want to be a Man United fan channel. I respect that entirely because it's a great insight for fans, but it's just not what I do at all. I'm not that charismatic or personal or whatever you want to call it. Like, it's just, I'm a sports psychology guy, and I want to talk about and teach that alongside the coaching that my dad does as well. So hopefully any of that makes sense. That's the first time I've done this with no script or anything. It might be like the worst video to watch or listen to. But yeah, like I said, we're going away on holiday for a little bit. I might try and do a video while I'm out there talking about something else. I know Dad won't. It'll be sunbathing or something. I don't know. But I'll do something, I think, because I'm usually bored when I'm on holiday. So there might be something then. But for the next... don't think there'll be an episode for the next 2 weeks. And if then, I don't know what that'll be, because it's pre-season as well. This is all uncharted territory. I don't know what I'm doing. There's no content to talk about, maybe England or something, but I don't know, nothing really. So we'll see when we come to it. But to be fair, I just wanted to say thank you for everyone who watched and subscribed and stuff and did all that. I don't know why. I mean, obviously because my dad and he's going to Man United and stuff, but it's I don't know really. But yeah, thank you for watching, thank you for listening, and I'll see you whenever I see you, I guess.